Ebor Millie said, I like the format. I'm happy for you, Ebor. Or are you Ebore? Can you all hear me? Good evening. I'm Bear with BearIndependent.com, founder and CEO of RefugeMedical.com, president of Grindstone Ministries, president of Caleb House, redneck that lives in eastern Oklahoma. Shalom, Miss Lovely Dudley. Alpha Wolves, what's going on? Sam, father figure, 5x5. What's up, Drew Stanek? Man, Drew, my Sakot would have sucked without you, man. I use the tactical coffee casualty care kit like every day, sometimes 2 or 3 times a day. So bless you, brother. You're awesome. Gary T. Gibbs, good evening. It's been a hot minute since we've done some Q&A on YouTube. Mostly that's because the Thirsty Thursday live stream has been moved to Patreon because there's far fewer trolls there. But, I was here in the bunker and I was like, maybe I'll talk to the people. I'll talk to the Bear Nation. So here we are. So there's just a handful of rules here. So let's cover the rules. What's up, Bear Engine? Shalom, brother. Let's cover the rules. First of all, if you're going to ask a question, ask it in all caps. That gives you a higher likelihood of me being able to see it. If I see it and I want to answer it, I will. If I don't see it, I won't. And if I see it and I don't want to answer it, I won't. Okay. Also, be cool to one another in the chat. Don't be trying to score points on each other, talking trash to each other. The person in the chat above you and below you, that is your brother or sister. So be nice to them, love them. And sometimes the best way to love somebody is just to stay the hell away from them. So, we could all be kind enough to one another to not engage at times. Okay. What kind of pistol should you get? Just kidding. Oh, country. What's your Bear? What kind of striker fired 9mm polymer framed pistol should I buy? The one that fits your hand. Do you have a preferred greenhouse? I wouldn't say that I prefer it. My wife got one for a couple $100 off of Amazon that's held up pretty well so far. I was actually very surprised. Make no mistake, it's super Chinesium. The instructions were horrendous. It was like, please to make for a house of green, for good sun, smile face on plants for you, for eat vegetables. I was like, oh, wow. Okay. And like some of the parts didn't fit together. They had to be massaged together. There was definitely a file and a drill involved in order to get it to fit together. But it worked. It stays warm in there. And Oklahoma hasn't destroyed it yet. Bear, is the address for Grindstone a good address to send you a care package for you and the other operators? Yes, it is, MacX. I appreciate that. Have you tried aquaponics yet? I have not tried aquaponics yet. If aquaponics is the one where you use fish in your greenhouse, yeah, because hydroponics is how you grow weed. I don't do that either. But I haven't tried aquaponics yet, but I love it. I love the concept of it. There's a place called the Heritage Homestead in Waco, Texas, and they have some really big greenhouses with beautiful produce, and they have a banging aquaponics system. What do you think about raised beds for foods? We plant in raised beds because our native soil sucks. It's really bad. So I like raised beds for me personally. Your soil might be better than mine, but mine's not that great. Wow, I was just watching a Viking movie with a badass Christian monk. Good job, Ghost. Can you maintain chicken farms if bears live here where I live? Any suggestions? Weaverville, California. Never been to Weaverville that I know of. The challenge with chickens is that everything likes chicken, including chicken. So the chickens will eat chicken, and everything else will eat chicken too. So I would say that you're going to need a really good enclosure if there's bears around there. Do you eat bacon? I eat beef bacon, which is like if swine belly and a ribeye had a love child. And it's absolutely delicious. I just received my Slick kit and the Boo Boo kit. They're both awesome. Thanks. Thank you, Sean Penrod. By the way, it's past 6 p.m. Central. So officially Cyber Monday at Refuge Medical has started as of 57 minutes ago. So it is Multicam Monday. So Multicam and Multicam Black and Marpat are all 20% off in the store at refugemedical.com right now. So just throwing that out there. There's a little tidbit. If you operationally operate like an operator and or you think crayons are food, multicam black, and Marpat, all on sale at refugemedical.com right now. So check that out. Appreciate you. Hey, Bear, my husband has terminal illness. We're struggling financially. Please pray for our health. Do you ever offer help to people who are struggling financially? Renee, if I've met them face to face and the spirit moves me, yes. But typically that's not something that Grindstone is set up to do. We are disaster relief and recovery, a bit of remediation. And then obviously you guys know about Caleb House. We rescue and restore kids who are being trafficked by assholes. So, but Grindstone is not set up for that. I don't know what your situation is, but I would say that there's probably several other ministries, agencies, organizations, NGOs that are better set up to address that than Grindstone is. It doesn't mean I don't want to help, and it doesn't mean that I won't pray for you, because I will. In fact, Renee, I'm going to write that down right now. Renee Nix, Palm Pilot 1.0. Renee Nix, got it. But you have to be, there's a really good book called When Helping Hurts that a brother of mine who's been in ministry for like 8 years now, and by ministry, I mean like moved his entire family to Uganda first and then now to Cambodia. He's like, you should read this book. And one of the things you have to be careful about is righteous scope creep. Just because it's the right thing to do doesn't necessarily mean it's the right thing for me to do or for us to do. Donnie O'Keefe, $5. Would you recommend building or buying one's first AK-545 chambering for use in tactical maneuvering 250-yard max? I'd just buy one, bro. AKs are a little bit more, because of the nature of the receivers, they're a little bit more intricate to build than an AR is. AR is just basically pushing pins together. When people say they built a rifle, generally speaking, not so much. Like especially if you bought an upper that was already assembled. What's up, Triple G Farms? Thank you for doing these. You're welcome. Triple G, I didn't want to tell the 452 other people that were here because I don't want them to get a complex. But I'm really just here for you, to be completely honest. It's all for you, Triple G. I've missed you. I'm trying to find my way back to the Lord. I don't trust mainstream churches. What can I do? That's a really good question. The first thing I would do is understand that people make mistakes, God doesn't, and that religion is by and large a construct of man. And there's a deep difference between being religious and being spiritual and having a relationship with the Father through the Son. If you're trying to find your way back to God, first of all, go looking for him, because he's out there. He's everywhere. He misses you. He loves you. He's waiting for you to come home again. There's an entire parable about this called the prodigal son, right? Like, he misses you. He loves you. Start talking to him. And then understand that he wrote a book for you because he loves you. It tells you all about him. It tells you all about him made flesh, his son, Yeshua, the Messiah. Some people call him Jesus. Tells you all about them and what their character is and what their nature is and how they love you and why they love you and how much they want to be with you. And read that book and take it literally. Like literally. What does it say? Do that stuff and begin that journey. And one of the best things that I ever saw, I ever heard, it's in the book of Proverbs. And I heard a rabbi speaking on this one time in a lecture. Basically, it says that God, Yahweh your Elohim, that God loves the righteous man even though he stumbles 7 times in a day. I'm like, oh, I'm hit. I need that because I do my best to walk out a righteous life, but I'm still human. I am not perfect. If I was, I wouldn't need the covering of the blood of the Son, right? I'm not even remotely perfect. And I think a lot of the time y'all give me too much credit. I'm just a normal guy. I'm just a normal guy who has the same challenges and struggles and the same hangups and traumas that y'all have, right? But the Father loves us. And he tarries with, he pursues those who are doing their best to walk in his ways. He loves the righteous man even as he stumbles 7 times in a day. I'm like, that's great news for me, because even though I'm trying, man, that doesn't mean that I'm nailing it every day. Frankly, I'm not nailing it every day. Some days I'm really good. I'm on fire, man. I'm firing on all cylinders. Other days I'm like, I got nothing. Other days it's everything I can do just to utter a whisper to speak to the Father, because I'm like that big, and I know I'm undeserving. And that's the thing. None of us are deserving. That's why it's called unconditional love. So take him seriously. Matt Dish, we are neighbors. You want to smoke a cigar sometime? Come by the office and introduce yourself, man. As long as you're not a creeper, we could set that up. If you're a creeper, well, we have land and heavy equipment. So I don't know what happened to Matt. Shalom, brother Chad. What do you think about Hebrew Israelites? Well, that's a very broad spectrum term. I've been I've been kind of pigeonholed into that belief structure by others who don't quite understand me or who I am. I'm clearly not a black Hebrew Israelite. If I am, I'm very, very pale for that. I don't like anybody that uses the word of God to beat other people in the face with. It's not a weapon. That being said, I'm a whole Bible believer. I believe all of it from the first page to the last page. So give yourself some credit, my dude. You're an example to folks you don't even know. Well, I appreciate that. And if I'm doing anything right, it's hopefully proving that you can be a busted up piece of shit and still have a relationship with the Father, and still love the Son and walk in his steps, and still be his hands and feet, and still run righteous businesses and operate ministries and go do the right stuff for the right reasons, even if you're not perfect. Because newsflash, none of us are. Like, as I've said it before, the only thing I might have on anybody else is I'm stubborn as hell. That's it. Like, and that doesn't mean that I don't think about giving up occasionally. It's like, but I don't say the Q word, let alone do it. Like, I'll be honest with you. The last 3 weeks or so have been pretty rough for me. I'm all peopled out, man. 2 weeks in Idabel doing disaster relief, and then another week being back with extended family at the homestead. Even people I love, I don't really want to see right now. That's why I'm in the bunker. And I've been plowing on a bunch of administrative work that has to get done, but that's not the primary reason I'm here. It's because I need a little bit of what they call the yonder. I need a little bit of space. I need a little bit of time and room just to get my head back in the game. Quit is a mindset that holds one back. Agreed. Bless you, Jacob A. Thank you. It still made time for us. Well, Andrew, man, I love you, bro. You know how it is. King David was no angel. The Father loved him. Praise Yahweh. Amen, man. King David was a man after the Father's own heart. And go read 1st, 2nd Samuel, 1st, 2nd Kings, right? Chronicles. King David, first of all, killed tens of thousands of men, right? And I get this question all the time. What's the difference between killing and murder? The condition of your heart. Killing is something that one has to do from time to time. Murder is you have decided in your heart way beforehand that you are gonna kill this person. It's premeditated. Where do you find beef bacon? The local butcher, and some of our local grocery stores carry them as well. Second Amendment, thank you for the $5 bill. I will tuck that right in my G-string. Y'all can't see me from the waist down, but red G-string. I've got my my Wesco Highliner, big black boots on, and my fireman helmet is right over here because that gets the most tips when I'm dancing on Sunday evenings. So Walmart, Kyle M, shalom, brother. Walmart is carrying beef bacon. That is super cool. Hey, Kyle M, good news. You're now a blue wrench. What's up, Tato? I knew it was red. You knew it, man. You knew it. Got to get those $5 bills, man. This YouTube doesn't pay very much, and I got a family to feed, so it's It's a lumberjack helmet. It's actually a red Speedo with a steel logging helmet. That's what it is. I thought you didn't dance. I don't. I'm white. I got one move. This is it. This is the only move that I got right here. Just like this. Which is funny because I have rhythm. I play drums. I just don't dance. Had a question come up at Thanksgiving. We know Jesus died for our sins, but why? And why him? Wow. Well, that's basically the entire story of the Bible. Well, let's start with why him, because he was prophesied to do so in the Old Testament. He checked all the boxes. In fact, Pastor Bob just texted me. That's awesome. What's up, Pastor Bob? I was reading in Micah this morning. Let's go to Micah real quick. One of the minor prophets, Micah chapter 5. Now you are raided, O daughter of the raiders. A siege has been laid against us. They strike the judge of Israel with a rod on the cheek. Sounds like Yeshua, Jesus, after the Garden of Gethsemane, before the crucifixion. But you, Bethlehem, Ephrath, you who are little among the clans of Judah, out of you shall come forth to me the one, capital O, one, to become ruler in Israel. And his coming forths are of old, from everlasting. Therefore he, capital H, he, Yeshua, shall give them up until the time that she who is in labor has given birth. And the remnant of his brothers return to the children of Israel. And this goes deeper to the renewed covenant. We don't have to jump into that here, but suffice it to say, if you're a Gentile believer in Messiah, Romans 11, verse 16, what you're grafted into is the family, the tree of life that is Israel. Make no mistake, Israel messed up a whole bunch. The house of Israel and the house of Judah messed up a whole bunch. And even still, the Father loves them and wants them back. That's why in Revelation 7, the sealing of the 144,000, those are the 12 tribes of Israel. And then there's a great multitude there that's so great they can't even be numbered. Those are the Gentile believers in Messiah. But we're together up there waiting on Yeshua, right? And he shall stand and shepherd in the strength of Yahuwah, of the Lord, in the excellency of the name of Yahuwah, his Elohim. And they shall dwell, for at that time he shall be great to the ends of the earth. And this shall be peace when Ashur, Assyria, comes into our land, and he treads in our palaces. We shall rise against him 7 shepherds and 8 leaders of men, and they shall shepherd the land of Ashur with the sword, and the land of Nimrod, Babylon, at its entrances. And he, Yeshua, shall deliver us from Ashur when he comes into our land, when he treads within our borders. And the remnant of Jacob, Israel, shall be in the midst of many peoples, as the dew from Yahuwah is showers on the grass, which do not wait for man, nor delay the sons of men. And the remnant of Jacob shall be among the nations, in the midst of many peoples, like a lion among the beasts of a forest, like a young lion among the flocks of sheep, who, if he passes through, shall both tread down and shall tear, and there is no one to deliver. Let your hand be lifted up against your adversaries, and all your enemies shall be cut off. And it goes on from there. But this is just one passage from one chapter in one minor prophet. The whole Old Testament points to Yeshua being Messiah. Then as far as sin, and I'm going to get a little biblical on you now, a little technical, but 1 John in the New Testament, chapter 3, verse 4, defines sin as lawlessness, right? So sin is doing the stuff that's opposite what God told us to do. The law in the King Jimmy version, that's the Torah. Torah actually means instruction. So the instructions that God gave us on how to live, when you break those instructions, you're sinning. So he removed sin from us because we can't do it ourselves. This goes all the way back to Pesach, or the Passover, the blood of the lamb, the sacrificial offering. That's why Yeshua says, life has no greater love than this, that a brother laid down his life for a friend. And he laid down his life for you because you, as a human being, are incapable of being without sin. And his whole job is to bring you back into the presence of the Father, and sin cannot exist in the presence of the Father. So he made an offering of himself for you so that you could come home again back to the Father. So, yes, Jesus was sinless. That's exactly correct. So, where did Bear learn all his medical and trauma knowledge? Was it past occupation besides owning a company now? So it wasn't a past occupation. It was past mentorship and then being put in positions over a dozen times in my life where I had to render aid. And I'm now currently EMR, working on EMT currently. And then I'd like to eventually get to paramedic as my schedule allows. But the whole genesis of Refuge, it started as I couldn't find a good first aid kit. So I just made some for me. And I showed them to some buddies of mine that were high speed. And they're like, these things are awesome. We want some. So I made some more. And I made some more. And I made some more. Then I offered them up for sale, limited quantities on Patreon. And we sold out. Then we sold out again. And we sold out a third time. And I was like, something's going on here. And so a lot of the iteration that has been done on our kits has been done by real end users that frankly know a hell of a lot more than I do, like Special Forces 18 Delta medics, right? Quad Zeros, SARCs, 68 Whiskeys, paramedics, EMTs, tactical paramedics that use our stuff in the field who are like, this stuff it's great. Could you tweak this? Could you add this? You don't actually need this. Can we get rid of that? And so that's why we keep iterating. That's why you have the Bearfact 3.0, because it's been iterated actually 4 times, because there was a 1, a 2, a 2.5, and now a 3. We're on the bare minimum 2.0, the Adventure Kit 2.0, the Stomp Kit 2.0, because we don't make new kits just for the hell of it. We make new kits when somebody who knows more than I do, who's using it in the field, says, love it, but could you do this? And so then we do. I wish I was home. Jesus is King, Romans 10:13, King James Version. I love you all. I appreciate that. Thank you. Amazing how the words, what's up, Nels? Amazing how the word presents itself when we need it. Not coincidence. I agree. They're only getting better. Thanks, Tato. I have both Bearfact and Dark kits. Bear's better. DA is still good. I think not as good. Fitness question. Endurance or speed and strength first is a priority? From up in Maine. I would get healthy first and then get strong. And I say that because I was both strong and healthy years ago. And then I had surgery and I was really fat, really, really fat. I've lost 54 pounds thus far. My goal is to lose 100. I'll actually be pretty damn skinny if I lose 100. But the reason I want to lose 100 is so the next time one of y'all tells me, Bear, you don't understand. I just can't. It's so hard. I can be like, hey, love you. Shut up. I lost 100 pounds. If I can do it, you can do it. Because I've got nerve damage and bad vertebrae and my hips hurt and my knees hurt and blah, 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 right? But who cares? Nobody cares about all the things that are wrong with me. So if I can do it, you can do it. But when I started working out again, I was like, I'm just going to go back to the gym and hit it hard. And I did. For a couple of weeks until I was like, you know what? This is more than just muscle soreness. I think I'm actually hurting myself. And so I'm now focusing on getting fit, and then I'll work on getting strong again. That's my 2 cents. Austin Jim, I just lost 55 pounds. That's awesome. Good job. Bear, thinking of assembling and selling get-home bags. In your opinion, is there a market for it? Absolutely, John Mark Allen. I am also thinking the same thing and have been thinking that for over a year now. We just, with all the other irons we have in the fire, we haven't gotten there yet. But honestly, if you can do it, go for it. If you make a good one, I'll tell people about it. Like, I'm all about that. What's up, Iridium Group? I lost 35 pounds this year. Good job, Autodidactic. 75 hard is a great goal to reach. I agree, Donnie O'Keefe. I agree. I've done 75 hard 3 times, and I believe myself and a couple of brothers are starting up another cycle maybe tomorrow. I should probably find out about that. 75 hard is way easier to do when you have people doing it with you. I am asking the brethren if stand by. Bear, can you link the scripture that you read and study from? It's just called The Scriptures. You can find it. Oh, Pastor Bob's in for 75 hard. Cool. You can find it on the Bible app. It's the TS 2009 version. And then if you want to buy a copy, you can go to isr-messianic.org or from Grindstone Ministries. And if you can't afford a copy, we'll just send you one. We'll just give you one. grindstoneministries.com. Bear, please tell me, axe, machete, or hammer for home defense? Oh, gosh. If we're going to melee weapons for home defense, we've probably done 1,000 other things wrong. A framing hammer is a formidable weapon. An axe is probably a little bit too much, although a smaller axe, like a 24, 26-inch camp axe in the right hands, is deadly. Machete, same thing. I don't know. How about these? How about these right here? There we go. David O'Keefe, I'm trying to save up for one of your IFACs, but keep up the good fight. Hardcore Semper Fi. Appreciate you, brother. Thank you. No, he's just Canadian. LOL. 45 auto. The word hits different. Changed my life forever. Praise Yah. Chainsaw. Hey, bad guys, stand by. I got to work the choke on this 662 real quick. I'm in 2. Kyle's in 2. Awesome. I guess we're starting 75 hard tomorrow. Shalom, and thank you for the last Q&A. I'm in prayer every day to lighten my heart of forgiveness of my sister-in-law. Hey, you know what, man? Great question, and you're welcome. That was on Patreon. That was it was a challenging question to answer, but I'm glad that you asked it. Best way to learn to use a chainsaw: get a small one, even if you rent a small one. Get some chaps and gloves and a helmet. Mac X is in. All right, we're in. I guess 75 hard starts tomorrow morning. And cut some small stuff to start with. And honestly, watch some videos. The best thing you could learn is how to not cut yourself. I'm being dead serious. I've been cut with a chainsaw 3 times. It sucks. How to not cut yourself. And the difference between tension and compression on the wood when you're cutting. Love you back, Overwatch. Get those 2 things figured out, and then I would get a larger saw. And larger saw is very circumstantial. It depends a lot on your context. For me, a larger saw is 881 with a dirt bike engine on it with a 3-foot long or 5-foot long bar. For most people, it's probably going to be like a 362 with a 20-inch bar. Chaps helmet soup. What's up, Wes S? Shalom, brother. Hey, you know what? High Ready Boutique, I love you back. 16 inch is good enough for most homeowners. I agree. I would tell you this. Most people, when you buy a saw, they trend towards buying a smaller, lighter saw, thinking that it's going to cause less fatigue. And that's not been my experience. What happens with a smaller, lighter, less powerful saw is you end up running it for twice as long. That actually causes more fatigue. So I would get a slightly bigger, more powerful saw than what you think you need, because your run time will be significantly reduced, and fatigue is what causes operator error. Operator error is what causes injury. So running a more powerful saw, as long as you know how to run one, is actually safer than running a smaller saw, in my experience. And I don't know everything there is to know about chainsaws, but I have been running them for 23 years now. And I did make my first $1 million with a chainsaw, and I still have that chainsaw. And Donnie's like, a 20 to 24 inch bar is good to go. It all depends on what we're doing. 291 is a beast for a small saw. It is. The 262, which is a professional grade saw with like an 18 inch or a 20 inch bar, is going to do like most of what anybody wants it to do. The 391 with a 20 or 25 inch bar, that thing's like a real workhorse for homesteading and firewood. And the 362 with a wrap handle and a 20-inch full chisel chain is my EDC saw. That's what I have on the truck right now. My Dolmar PS 7900 will kick your ass over a day. You know it. Yes, you can, Mike. Everybody pray for Mike. High Ready Boutique, bless you, bro. I saw a Bob-sized bar this one time. Yeah. Yeah, that was significant. That was significant. Have you gotten plants going in the greenhouse yet? Is your greenhouse store-bought or homemade? It's store-bought. Well, it's Amazon bought. My wife picked it out, and we have used it this past season to grow plants. We currently don't have anything in it. Although she was talking about getting some like cruciferous vegetables going in there in the near future. 371. How I was taught to use a saw. Boss handed me a saw and said, figure it out. I now own a MS 180 and I love it. Perfect to ride in a truck, toolbox, or take on trails for maintenance. Yeah, that's a good small saw. My wife has a 171 and it's super handy with a little 16-inch Pico chain on it. And I'm telling you what, man, there's times where I just need to cut something quick and I grab that instead of a big saw. Bear for Prez. I mean, maybe one day I might focus on governor first. I don't know if y'all would like me for president, honestly, because I would get rid of so much shit day one. Like day one, Secret Service would not be in charge of my protection detail. I'd probably have like third group or team 6, rather. You know, maybe like 19th group. Those guys have seen some stuff, man. They've been around. But anyway, you know, it would be an entirely different. It'd be a little bit more 1991-ish. So VP with Trump. Well, assuming that my belief is doesn't even know that I exist, that probably won't happen. Although you could definitely let him know I exist. What's up, Badger? When to use skip chisel over full? If you have a long bar on a saw that has questionable power, you skip chisel because it has half the amount of cutter teeth, which means you have half the amount of engagement, which effectively doubles the amount of torque per tooth that you're getting. So if I was going to run like a 48-inch bar on my 661, I would use skip chisel. But I run 32s on my 066 Magnum and my 661 with full chisel, and they do just fine. In fact, my 660 Magnum with the 066 Magnum has more power and more torque than the 661, and that's because I've done like every modification you can do to it. So Kanye West is a certified idiot. He's also got more money than all of us put together. So I guess it depends on how you quantify idiot. We are out. Cool Hemp. What are your heavy equipment recommendations for heavily wooded 80 acres? Great question. A lot of people misunderstand the difference between like a tractor and heavy equipment. Tractors maintain land. Heavy equipment develops land. And so it depends on what your 80 acres looks like. If it's arable and rolling pasture and ready to be planted, ready to be worked, then a tractor is going to do just fine for you. Don't get one of the little 26 horsepower riding lawnmowers with a bucket on the front. They don't have enough horsepower to do most stuff. I'd get a minimum of a 40 horse tractor to 50, 60 horse tractor for 80 acres. Heavy equipment, skid steers, dozers, track hoes, move dirt, remove trees, make ponds. They form the earth. A tractor works the earth. Heavy equipment, like made out of iron painted yellow, moves the earth. It's actually called earth moving equipment in some circles. And so depending on what you have to do and how much money you have, you know, a good 80 to 100 horse skid steer with a good bucket, you can get a lot done. You can push over trees, at least where I am, you know, up to 12 inches in diameter, no problem. You can move logs, you can make pathways, you can gravel a driveway, you know, move dirt. You do all that stuff with a skid steer. And depending on what your budget is, maybe you buy one, maybe you rent one for a month or so. But if you do that with a tractor, even a 4-wheel drive tractor, you're probably going to get stuck and you're probably going to find that it doesn't have the controls that you wish that it would have. Another thing, most tractors that have buckets, the valve to move the bucket is, generally speaking, the controls are very coarse because it's just a straight hydraulic control. When you move the handle, you're opening a hydraulic valve, and they're finicky, they're touchy, versus heavy equipment, they're electric over hydraulic. So when you move the joysticks, it's sending an electrical impulse to a hydraulic valve that then is metered, will open and close softly if you give it a little bit, or quickly, hard, if you give it a lot. And so there's a lot more finesse with earth moving equipment because it's electric over hydraulic, whereas a tractor is just, generally speaking, straight hydraulic. So Red Scout, I know you're listening even if you're not replying. That was the first comment I saw of you, bro. So keep it in your pants, homie. Bear, my friend Andrew at Combat Art Training is an excellent nylon gear maker. He would do a great job on some USA-made trauma packs for recon. You mean for refuge? Tell him to contact us, bro. I mean, tell him to reach out. Let's talk. What do you suggest a new prepper invest in? Hey, what's up, Hacks man? Shalom, brother. I love my tractor, but I keep trying to find an excuse to get a skid steer. So, we had the choice of getting a tractor or a skid steer. We got a skid steer. And now, I'll be honest, my next door neighbor, who's awesome, has a tractor. So when we have to do tractor stuff, he has a tractor. But I find we do a lot more skid steer stuff than we do tractor stuff. It's just way better at moving gravel, moving wood chips, moving earth, moving logs, moving firewood, pushing over trees, digging ponds, clearing brush. It's just way better at it. What it's not good at is, hey, you got to bush hog this area, or we have to plant this area. It's not good at that. But it's definitely good at all the other things that I stated. Bought a John Deere 330G about 3 months before Ivan hit us here in Fort Myers. Was worth its weight in gold. I believe that. What's up, Cindy P? I just got my first steel chainsaw. Awesome. Yes, that's also correct, Chad. A quintessential question one needs to ask themselves when purchasing heavy equipment is, how much can you leg press? Because if you can't leg press a skid steer, then I'd get something smaller. Thank you, Bear. We want to be able to move earth and hang cattle. Do we need a skid and a tractor? I've hung cattle with my skid steer, no problem. So it sounds like skid steer, but I haven't seen your 80 acres and I don't know exactly what you want to do. So I don't completely understand your context. In fact, I have very little understanding of your context, but it sounds like skid steer. Maybe what I would do if I was you is I would rent one of each, rent one for a month and then rent another for a month and see which one was more useful where you are before you commit to a very large purchase. That'd probably be a good move. What's up, Joe? Hello. I need to get a hold of Bob. I need to see if I can get the contents of Adventure Kit without the bag. Of course you can. Sales@refugemedical.com. Bear, please name the synagogue of Satan. Go watch my Revelation videos. I've read every word of the New Testament on camera. Bear is the only person in Bear Nation to leg press a skid steer with footage. That's correct, Donnie. I appreciate you. Thank you. Yeah, that's in the, you can find that in the Grindstone Ministries playlist in Kentucky. I believe the name of the video was Because I Was Inverted. Thanks, Homestead Jeff. Struckcore has some great small tractors that can do all the things. That's awesome. Let's see. Steel should send you some money for all the chainsaws you've sold for them over time. Yeah, I'm working on something different. What I would like Steel to do is send Grindstone some saws and chaps and logging helmets and wedges, and I'd be super happy with that instead. That'd be great. In fact, one of the things I've been working on over the last couple of days is a Grindstone 2023 expansion proposal. If we're going to keep doing what we're doing with Grindstone, which I have every intention of, what does that look like? What do we need? What do we want? And how can we start the solicitation process for those things and form those strategic partnerships that we need to form? Triple G. Bear, do you run a 45 ACP or 9mm these days primarily? I run primarily right now a 9mm. Somebody just asked me that question yesterday. we were at the range. Y'all can't see that because the camera can't focus. But that's a little itty bitty 9mm, 147 grain plus P jacketed hollow point XDEF from freedommunitions.com. I don't think you're allowed to say that on YouTube anymore. I probably just got banned. But I like the 45 a lot. I like the way a 45 hits, man. 185 grain plus P jacketed hollow points are just beast mode. And when winter gets here, and remember, I'm 54 pounds lighter than I was, so I have less of a frame to hide a 45 on than I did. But when winter gets here, I have no problem carrying my Glock 21 everywhere. Right now, I got a 19X on my hip. Are you still a metalhead or have you changed your ways? Man, that's a complex question. The only music that I enjoy playing drums to is metal. Hey, what's up? Shalom, brother Saws. Yeah, I'll touch on that next. Appreciate you. I still listen to heavy metal, but I don't listen to heavy metal that's just egregiously satanic like I used to back in the day. That stuff's not good for you. It wears on one's soul, and you want to be very careful to not open doors that you can't close again, right? You don't want to be a dog returning to its vomit. That being said, if I'm going to play drums, and I do regularly, in fact, I played for an hour this morning and over an hour yesterday. I like double bass. I like blast beats. I like big tom fills. And you find all of that in metal. So that's what I play, generally speaking. But as far as listening to, I do still listen to some metal. And I don't really listen to a whole lot of music otherwise, unless it's like on Shabbat and I have a private playlist called Worship, and I'll throw that on. But you got to be careful, what you feed yourself, not just with your mouth, but also with your eyes and your ears, right? All three of these points are inputs. And if you're putting garbage in, don't be surprised when you get garbage out. And now balance that with the flesh, right? Like, I love metal. I love the technicality of it. I at times love the brutality of it. It's the kind of music that speaks to me. That's why at some point when I don't have 5 businesses and 2 ministries, I'm going to have a band called 100 Pound Hail, and all the lyrics are we're just going to read out of the book of Revelation and the book of Isaiah. And it's going to be, heavy metal worship music. It's going to be awesome. But not there yet. I'm a little busy rescuing kids and cleaning up after tornadoes and selling first aid kits and talking to y'all right now. So let's see. Survival Applications and Weapons System said, Shalom, Brother Bear. Any advice on ownership structure for small farms and businesses for layered protection? So small farms and businesses. We looked into getting an LLC for our homestead. And in the state of Oklahoma, that did not behoove us. We didn't do that because it would have required that at least some of our outputs would have been for sale. And our outputs are for personal consumption. They're not for sale. So it actually didn't help us at all. But if you were selling your, root vegetables and your sweet peppers and your sheep, then you should absolutely get an LLC for a couple of reasons. The first is there's some legal protections that come with that. The business is a separate entity. And as long as you structure appropriately, your personal holdings cannot be attached. Like if somebody sued you because there was E. coli on your, yellow banana pepper that you sold them, well, they sued the business, not you. And so the business is a separate entity, has separate holdings from you as a person. So there's a legal separation there, which is good. And then also, I think every American on the face of the earth should have an LLC. It costs about $100 to file an LLC. But what you get with an LLC or a limited liability company is you get the ability to file what's called a Schedule C on your tax return, which is an itemized tax return, which has, I believe, 140 categories. Everything is tax deductible. This dumb iPhone right here, because I use it for business, not only the cost of the phone, but the cost of the plan is 100% tax deductible. If you have a phone for your farm, right? Tax deductible. You have a home office in your farm, a portion of your utilities, a portion of your property taxes, tax deductible because you use that for business. The muck boots that you buy and the jeans and the hoodies and the feed and the water and all of your inputs are tax deductible. And so what that means for a tax deduction for those that are unaware is like, let's say you earned $100,000 in a year, but you spent 50 of it on feed and utilities and marketing and uniforms and whatever else, right? So now your taxable burden isn't 100,000, it's 50,000. So not only does that get you out of that $100,000 tax bracket where you'd be paying, say, 40%, where your tax burden would be $40,000, so you keep 60, right? That gets you down to the $50,000 tax burden, where now, before all of your deductions for your wife, your kids, your home, your solar panels, your blah, 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 wetlands, blah, 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 before all your tax deductions, now you're at 50,000. And let's say your tax burden at 50,000 is 20%. So that's a $10,000 tax burden before your deductions. So you go from a $40,000 tax burden, same income, you still earned $100,000, but you go from a $40,000 taxable burden to a $10,000 tax burden, just like that, because you filed a Schedule C, because you're buying all that stuff anyway. And so as long as you're actually conducting some business, you should have an LLC for the legal separation and for the tax benefits. Like our country's tax code is set up to benefit businesses. And that's because businesses produce revenue. They employ people. They produce taxation for the government to operate with. And so it's good to have a business. Even if you don't know shit from Shinola about running a business, it's pretty basic. Spend less money than you earn. That's kind of step one of having a business. So it definitely makes sense. And then as far as structure, like an S Corp or an LLC, you can, or an Inc., an actual corporation, you can change that over time. You should start with, unless you're doing $500,000 or more per year, an LLC is just fine for you. And even then, an LLC will easily cover up to $1 million or $2 million. But somewhere around the $1 million mark, you should consider restructuring into an S Corp. And that's just a separate filing, about $165 ish. And it just converts your LLC into an S Corp. Once you become an S Corp, it's possible, depending on the state that you live in, that you will have to, instead of filing taxes at the end of the year, you'll have to file quarterly taxes. That's a pain in the ass, but it's worth doing. And also, you may be required to have a board, even if that board is one person, you, and that board has to have minutes. I had a meeting with myself. We went to Chili's, and I drank an iced tea and ate a cheeseburger, and I wrote some notes on a piece of paper, and here's my minutes. It depends on the state that you're in. But it's like, you can't go wrong starting an LLC for a small venture now. And then you can always grow it. You can always change it after time. You don't start an LLC and then you're stuck with an LLC for the rest of your life. Polar bear meets up with the Burmese python. Who wins? Polar bear for sure. The Burmese python is a cold-blooded animal, and so it's going to be able to barely move. The polar bear's one swipe with them giant claws. The polar bear's having snake for dinner. Did you dye your beard? It looks good. Negative. I just trimmed it. Also, it's probably the lighting. You want to look at it super close? Look, see, there's still gray in that sucker right there. It's just a beard, homie. There are times it's slightly obnoxious when I'll trim my beard, or I'll do a little bit of manscaping, and people are like, "Oh my God, what happened to your beard?" It's like, why do you care about my beard so much? What are you doing, man? I'm not an action figure you get to take out of the closet and play with. Like, I'm a real person. So, actually, question, Bear, you mentioned once that not paying your taxes is a sin. Can you point me to the scripture for that? Render unto Caesar what is Caesar's. Bear's beard game is on point, no homo. Thank you, Corn Pop. I appreciate that. The beard is really CGI. It's really good CGI. I mean, the production team does a great job with it. Stoicism plus following Yeshua, can it mix? Absolutely. Shaul of Tarsus, aka the Apostle Paul, was very affected in his teachings by the writings of the Stoics. Don't let the world bother you. It's basic rule of Stoicism. Don't let the world bother you, right? Yeshua himself says, be not conformed to the world. Okay, those are in alignment. Best green screen beard I've ever seen. Thank you, Dixie. I've worked hard on this. Like I said, I've mentioned it before, but I'll mention it again. We blew our entire yearly budget for YouTube on buying the computers that they did Jurassic Park with so that I could be able to make this green screen appear back here. What do you think of Hoya Silver cigars? I've never smoked one. Bear Independent is a real boy. I'm a real boy. Yes. How do you feel about getting food in your beard? I don't feel one way or another about it. It's just a fact of life sometimes. When my beard was down to here, I'm not going to lie. One time I was eating peanuts and afterwards, like an hour later, I found like 3 whole peanuts in my beard. And I was like, I mean, for one thing, you know, it's food storage. But on the other hand, it's like, that's a little gross, right? It's a little gross. For all I know, there's a family of chipmunks living in this thing. What does it mean when the Bible says, do not round the corners of your beard? So that's found in the book of Leviticus. I believe it's in Leviticus 19. And Leviticus 19:2 sets the tone for all of that chapter, which is be set apart as I, Yahweh, your Elohim, am set apart. And so all the prescriptions for behaviors you see in Leviticus 19, assuming that it is in Leviticus 19, I think it is. All those things are about not conforming to the world, like we just talked about with Stoicism. And remember that a mixed multitude of Hebrews and like 80 other nationalities came out of Egypt when Moses led them across the Sinai Peninsula into the Promised Land. 40-year journey because they rejected the Promised Land. Different story. But there was a whole bunch of folks in there that weren't necessarily the Hebrews. And the Hebrews themselves had forgotten how to be Hebrew, which is why the Father had to call Moshe up on Mount Sinai and say, hey, buddy, we got to talk for 40 days. You need to write some rules down because my people don't know WTF, right? And so part of that was the Egyptians and these other nations would form the corners of their beards. They were very vain, right? And Yah's like, hey, dude, just let your beard grow. Now you'll see in religion versus what the Bible says, if you look at the Hasidot, the Hasidic Jews, Orthodox Jews, they have the curly cues, right here by their ears. They let this portion grow because they take that portion of the word to mean that literally. And who am I to argue with somebody who takes the Bible literally? I very much so do. The question that I've always had is, how does this right here become the corner of your beard? This very much so seems like a tradition of man to me because there's no corner here. This, if anything, is the side of my beard, the very top of my beard where it meets my hairline. But at the end of the day, are they hurting anybody? Nah, nope, ain't bothering me a bit. I don't care. So you can trim your beard. And just like, don't be like super vain about it. Does Refuge ever make it out west, like Utah area for training? Yeah, we've been to Salt Lake a couple of times. We were in Idaho. We have another class in Idaho coming up. What's your message tonight, Nels Mohawk? We're just doing Q&A, bro. But if I had to pick a message, Matthew 22:36, love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your might, and love your neighbor as yourself. So, live from the bunker, J.A. Dudley. It's a must. Shalom, brother. Just got done with PZB. Awesome, bro. Are they hurting anyone? Just financially, asked Kanye. Whatever, man. Like, the global cabal is more than just Jews. Are there Jewish assholes? Sure. Are there Israeli assholes? Yup. Are there American assholes? Yup. Canadian, Mexican, Venezuelan, British, Indian, Chinese, Russian. Yup. People are assholes. So do the Jews have a stranglehold on the banking industry? Yeah. Are you supposed to be in debt to them? No. Let's go back to that whole book of Leviticus there. You lend to all nations, but you do not borrow. So if you firmly believe that they have a stranglehold on these industries, don't participate. Don't play in that. Don't play those dumb games. What knife you use for search and rescue? Spyderco Resilience. And I have a very large, one of a kind, bigger than even the ones we sell at bearindependent.com, very large Bear fixed blade knife that was made for me. And Forge, I can see his logo. Why can't I remember the name of his company? Gosh, dang it. I want to say West Fork Forge, but that's one of y'all in the chat. It'll come to me. Awesome guy. He makes all of our Bear branded knives, and they're just incredible. Even assholery is inclusive. That's correct, Battle Axe. Do you have the nice EDC Leatherman shears? I do not. Several of my guys do. The Leatherman Raptor. They're cool. I have, hold on. I must roll across the bunker floor. I have some of these. These are North American Rescue shears that have been branded with the Refuge Tree of Life. If you've ever wondered what is that logo, like why does Refuge look like that? Well, it comes from the Psalms. The Lord is my refuge and my strength, right? And then that is the tree of life right there. That's Romans 11:16. That's what you're grafted into. So that's what our logo is. Fleming's Fabrications. Thank you, Donnie O'Keefe. Appreciate you, brother. Fleming Fabrications. He's the guy that makes all of our custom knives. So do you celebrate Christmas? I do not celebrate Christmas. I am 0% concerned with the winter solstice. And if you can find me a verse in the Bible that says celebrate Christmas, I'll consider it. Dubai has all the gold. Jews have all the diamonds. UK has all the silver. Okay. Bear, I lost from 245 to 180 in a year on very low carb keto. Colonel Bullseye. That's awesome, man. Good job. I'm doing the slow carb out of the 4-hour body. Hold on. Let me roll back across the bunker floor. Stand by. You know, they did such a good job pouring this slab 40 foot underground. Super smooth. This book, The 4-Hour Body by Timothy Ferriss. But I think the camera has it backwards. Rahu for et Udab by Sarif Yahomet. 4-Hour Body by Timothy Ferriss. And in here, it talks about slow carb. And slow carb is basically like, it's like keto with very little dairy, and you add in legumes, beans. And that works really good for me because keto, I'm super lethargic, gives me headaches. It sucks. The beans don't spike your insulin, low glycemic impact. And so your body is not triggered to store fat, thus the term slow carb. So Google it. It works really good for me. I like it. But the other thing to understand is like, just because it works for me doesn't mean it's going to work for you. And slow carb particularly is not good for women. Apparently it messes with like their hormones bad, like missed cycles and like fertility issues. It's not good. So I just stopped eating seconds and dropped 15 pounds in a month. That's awesome. Somebody said, check out SOE. You should check out SOE. John and Amanda at SOE are badasses. I love them. They're awesome. And they make incredible gear. So you should check them out. Tim Ferriss does great interviews. One of my favorites is with Mike Rowe. You know, I haven't heard that one. I used to listen to a lot of Tim Ferriss. And then when he got really staunch on his plant medicine, and every single podcast was talking about mushrooms or ayahuasca or this or that, I was like, I'm out, man. I'm out. I don't want to alter my mental status with the plant. Not interested. You know, like drinking is okay. Drunkenness is not. You're not supposed, be sober minded. I get a lot of people like, you call yourself a man of God and you drink whiskey? Occasionally, yeah, I do. I don't get drunk. And I don't drink whiskey every day. So, but I'm definitely not interested in going on some shamanistic ayahuasca adventure to talk to the clockwork elves to fix all of my life's problems. So, TJ, your tourniquet carriers are the best around. I appreciate you, Rick. Just wait until you see the ones we're working on getting from Sojourn Gear. They're even better. Have you ever tried to choke down a chaga mushroom? I have not. High blood pressure alters the mind. I believe that. Yes, Saw is in the house, or at least he was in the house, which is cool because he lives out in the woods, you see. And the internet out there is not very reliable. So the fact that he would spend some of his data on us is very cool. I'll tell you what, like honestly, and this is not me simping for another channel, Saw has some excellent content. And what you get on YouTube is like the first inch of the tip of the iceberg. I'm on Saw's Patreon and I try and because he's got stuff on there every day. 2 or 3 videos, depending on what tier you're on, every day. Huge, huge value proposition. And it's the kind of information you're literally not going to get anywhere else. So if you ever think, like, if at any point you think you might have to engage in a martial context, you need to be paying attention to Saw because he is going to destroy all of your paradigms so that he can put you back together again in a way that makes sense, because the prepper community is just so wrong about firearms. And a big part of that is because look at who we have to learn from. Like you're going to go pick a standard YouTube gun channel, and what you're going to get is a bunch of third-party advertising and marketing hype. It doesn't apply to most of us contextually. And so I've learned a metric shit ton from Saw, both on Patreon and in person. And I would strongly suggest you go check him out because the knowledge there it's unequivocated on the internet. And he has been there and done that. He's got more reps and sets than maybe anybody else talking at an iPhone on the internet. So, Bear, do you have chickens? What breed? I have lots of chickens, and they are now our own breed because we have bred our chickens so much that they are what we call our barnyard mix. And they started as Australorps and Barred Rocks and some Freedom Rangers and one other breed that escapes me. But all of my breeds are dual-use birds. Layers that I can then eat. And even with the Freedom Rangers, which are meat birds, we found that very good layers, like a couple hundred eggs per year. And they make good eggs and they make excellent meat. So, and I like them a lot more than the Cornish Cross, which is a freaking abomination. Bless you back, brother Saw. Somebody said, there it is, Viking Plumber. Hey, Bear, if Essential Responder almost killed me, yes, I need to get in better shape. Am I going to die if I take Responder 4? Yes. Responder 3, which is, the second day of the Essential Responder. If Responder 3 almost killed you, you have to be able to complete Responder 3 in order to take Responder 4. Each class builds on itself. And so if you did not successfully complete R3, take another R3. In fact, I'll go so far as to say, get yourself in shape, contact sales at Refuge Training, and I'll give you the next class at cost. Come back to class. I want you to be able to complete Responder 3. But you have to be able to have successfully completed Responder 3 in order to be considered for Responder 4. It's looking like the model for Responder 4 is going to be invite only to the Responder 3 alumni right now. Chad, I did. Bless you, brother. Did you guys get the pics I sent to the rec I worked using the trainer kit? Use the gloves and combat gauze to stop bleeding from the person's face and head. Awesome, bro. Awesome. By the way, it is officially Cyber Monday at Refuge Medical again. So Black Multicam, and Marpat are all 20% off right now. Now through 6 p.m. tomorrow evening. So just throwing that out there. It's very rare that I'll do 20% off of anything because our margins are super tight, like 22 to 25%. So taking 20% off the top, like I feel it in my freaking bones every time we do it. But the crazy kids at Refuge Medical talked me into it. We're doing it Cyber Monday. Black Multicam, which we don't do Black Multicam regularly. Very limited run. I think this is the second time we've ever done it. So Black Multicam kits, Multicam kits, and Marpat are all 20% off. And some of the kits you were previously unable to get in those colors, like adventure bags. The adventure bags in the Black Multicam, the Multicam are banging. The ARC in Black Multicam, the SOB kit, Black Multicam, they all look incredible. So what antivirus software do you recommend? The one that my tech guy tells me to put on my laptop because I don't know shit from Shinola when it comes to that stuff. Somebody said, why the scriptures instead of the Bible? It's the same thing. The difference between the scriptures and, say, the King James Version, and if you get a copy of the scriptures, the preface in the scriptures explains all this. Shalom, Texas T. Appreciate you, brother. Well, listen, Gandalf 420, don't tell everybody. It's a secret. If you buy Marpat, you get a snack, okay? But don't, the whole, there's 900 people here. Don't tell them. Don't tell them. Marine's gonna Marine, bro. So the scriptures, that translation took them like 20 years. And they went back to the original source texts that they retranslated from the original source texts to get rid of all of the bad translations, mistranslations, went all the way back to the original texts to try and get a translation that's as close to what was originally intended as possible. And that's why I like it. That being said, I have 14 different translations of the Bible in book form. Like I can take them off the shelf and look at them. And I do from time to time when I'm studying the word. So the scriptures is my EDC Bible, but I have a King James, a New King James. I have a Sefer. I have the Founder's Bible. I have the lexicon. I have the concordance. I have the Message, which I hate, super watered down. NIV, Complete Jewish Bible. I have all of these things. So there you go. They have flavored markers now, but crayons are still champion. They're waterproof. Yep. Any tips on ShamWowing the boss man into getting one of your classes? Well, Ray McDaniel, that's an interesting question. I love your phraseology, though, ShamWowing him. Depending on what industry you're in, it may be required. You are required in certain industries to have an OSHA Class B first aid kit with a tourniquet in it, and the employer is required to train you in the use of that tourniquet. I could also easily see the argument that it will lower insurance costs and greatly increase survivability of the people on your crew, which is really good for PR and the bottom line for the business. And it's an excellent team building exercise and will come to you. And if he has or she has further questions, sales@refugetraining.com. We're happy to have a conversation. Hexman, I freaking love my adventure bag so much. I bought a second one. I've used the mess out of it, even last night when my daughter cut her hand. Dude, bless you, bro. Email us. Tell us what you use. We'll replace that stuff, man. I'm glad to know you're getting use out of it. That's what we built them for, man. That's awesome. Which, by the way, at Refuge, if you use your stuff to render aid, like email us, like we'll replace the contents. I want the whole purpose behind Refuge is to get good hands and get good kits into the hands of good people. That's what we're all about, man. Do y'all offer TECC or TCCC classes? Depends on who you are. If you're military or law enforcement, you get a TCCC class. If you're civilians or fire or paramedic EMS, you get TECC. And it depends on what funny letters, if any, you have after your name. But we are quite capable of doing both. How many tourniquets come in the adventure bag? Well, I have no remembrance whatsoever. I think I have one over there. But if I go to refugemedical.com and I click the website over here, and I go to first aid kits, and then I go to the adventure kit, and I hit view. Man, there's a lot of stuff in that bag. Ba-ba-da-ba-da. Yeah, that's a lot of contents. I'm reading. You get one tourniquet in there, but you can add an additional tourniquet if you'd like to at checkout. You can also just buy straight components off the components page at refugemedical.com. Hey, what's up, Papa Prepper? Shalom, bro. I mean, we got all the famous people up in here tonight. His eyes tell me he got 246. Any suggestions on how to deal with one of my jobs at a hospital that's giving me grief about not taking the flu shot? Have you tried a religious exemption? Mm-hmm. Oh, is Hans on the chat? I didn't see Hans. Shalom, Rain Cat. I sustained a fractured spine and TBI via IED in Iraq. Yep. You're going to make it, buddy. You still got blood in your body and breath in your lungs. You're going to make it. Shalom, brother. Bear, Heath, and Britt are rock stars. I got my order squared away. Thanks. Drew, yes, they are. And like, that's probably worth talking about for a minute. I get the question all the time, Bear, how do you do it all? I don't do it all. I can't do it all. It's called span of control. I can't control all this stuff. Man, I've got legitimately 5 businesses and 2 ministries. I'm in charge of those things, but the way you get through a span of control issue is you delegate authority and responsibility and purview to good people, and then you leave them the hell alone to do their job while simultaneously making yourself available to them when they don't know how to do their job. Don't be overly involved, and I'm not overly involved. I don't like to be micromanaged, and most killers, most people who are getting after it, don't like to be micromanaged either. So give clear, concise direction, set an expectation, inspect what you expect. That's an Ed Milet term, and I like it very much. Inspect what you expect. So if you expect somebody to do it, you better be able to inspect their fruit, make sure they're doing it. Leave them the hell alone. And Heath and Britt are rock stars. And everybody else that works there are freaking rock stars, man. They just get after it. And so that's how we've been able to grow at the exponential rate that we have. Guys, 3 years ago, I was packing first aid kits in my barn by myself, 1 hour a week. Now we've got 21 employees, and we're in an 8,000 square foot facility, which we bought, praise Yah. And my next move is to put a warehouse up somewhere so that I have the inventory warehoused nearby, and then we just pack kits on the shop floor because we're running out of space to do both under that 8,000 square foot roof. It's business, man. But you hire good people and then let them do their jobs. Leave them alone. If they need you, they will tell you, hey, boss, I need you. At which point you make time because they need you. And then you get them back on track. You answer their questions, square them away, and then leave them the hell alone again. Ethan Davis, JT packed my order the other day. It's so cool they send you a video shipping the product. Yeah, that's something we talked about a couple months ago. And I was like, one of the ways, here's a business strategy lesson, especially going into 2023, right? Like things are weird. Let's be honest. Things are weird. Probably not going to get less weird in the next 12 months. Probably going to get more weird. Customer retention is incredibly important. Being perfectly honest, if you're going to shop at Refuge, I don't want you to buy just one kit from us. I want every kit for the rest of your life that you buy to come from us. Part of that is having the best damn product on the face of the earth. The other part of that is having excellent customer service. We ought to be able to take 10, 20, 30 seconds and shoot you a video from the work phone and say, hey, man, packing your order. We got everything right here. Really appreciate you. Looks like you added an extra soft tea. That was a really good idea. Thank you for supporting our small business. We couldn't do this without you. I hope you have a blessed day. That would excite me if I made a purchase, whether it's a tourniquet or a stomp bag from somebody, from the cheapest thing we have on the website to the most expensive thing we have, right? If I bought a set of shears from somebody, it would be cool to me to have somebody text my phone a video saying, hey, thank you for helping us. Thank you for supporting us. Couldn't do this without you. Really appreciate you, man. Honestly, hope you have an awesome day. It's about to hit the big brown truck. You should see it in a day or two. It takes no time. It costs us no money, but it lets you know that we actually care about you. And we do. Like, businesses are dependent upon their clients. No clients, no business, right? And businesses exist to solve problems. The problem we solve is you get an incredibly high first aid kit with everything you need and nothing you don't, so that you don't have to do all the research. You can one and done, buy now, handled. Don't have to worry, is it going to have what I need when I need it? Yep. Well, Bear, how do you know that? Well, because 56 people are still alive because of that first aid kit. We have the historic data, and they're built on sound principles. Like, we build kits out so that you can work the March algorithm thoughtfully. And so the problem that we solve is doing that work for you so that you don't have to worry about it, so that you don't have to piecemeal a kit together. And then when people say, well, I could just build one for cheaper, be my guest. Go right ahead. I dare you. I dare you. You, sir, are awesome. No, Brandon, you, sir. Hold on, you're over here. You, sir, are awesome. I appreciate you. I really do. Brother Gas, year of the 100-pound hail, still on deck for frontman. Roger that, dude. I almost drove into the big city today and picked up a Marshall half stack. I'm not being facetious. I almost did it. And I was like, man, it's Sunday after Black Friday. I don't think I want to be in the big city today. So what's up, Hunt Outdoors? There's nothing on the market like the Mastiff kit nor the hands behind it. Thank you, Saw. Appreciate you, brother. Mark Chase, what's up, bro? I'm trying to remember how many IFACs I bought. They make great gifts. Mark Chase, you've bought a lot. I know that. Let's see. I clicked the wrong link. Hold on, Corn Pop. I saw your question. Give me one moment. I'm trying to answer somebody else's question. Bippity boppity boo. I have a Mastodon song stuck in my head right now. No, you cannot currently purchase an individual decompression needle from the store. If you needed a stack of them, though, you can email sales@Refuge Medical. Corn Pop's Revenge. Bear, do you do any motorcycle riding, particularly with dual sports and or adventure bikes? I feel they could come in handy in hard times with the ability to travel across all kinds of terrain, carry the necessary goods. I don't. And I don't have anything against that. I don't. And there's three reasons that come to mind as to why I don't. The first is I don't have the time. Well, let me restate that. I have prioritized my time in such a way that there is not room in my schedule in order for that to be on the schedule. Okay. So we all have the same 24 hours in the day. I spend mine differently than most people. The next is I don't have the money for one of those bikes. I'm not poor, but I'm not rich either, guys. Like I don't take a salary from Refuge. Medical or training. Grindstone definitely doesn't pay me. In fact, the flow of money is the other direction. I've put in the last 3 years about $250,000 into Grindstone out of my wallet. Caleb House definitely doesn't pay me. I have a consultancy that I'm not taking any more clients on right now. I make some money from that. And then YouTube pays me, but it ain't a whole hell of a lot of money. And Patreon pays me. And there's 3 other people that are part of the production team that get paid with Patreon money before I ever see a dime of it. So I'm not rolling in dough. And I'm okay with that. I've ordered my life in such a way that not only do I not need to be rolling in dough, I've made shit tons of money in my life. I was pretty damn miserable while I was doing it. And so I have an incredibly high quality of life right now, even though my earnings might be lower than they have been at other portions of my life. And that's okay. But I don't have the money for an adventure bike right now. The truck that I'm driving is 16 years old, 14 years old. Maybe it's 14 years old. And I like it. And I'm happy with that because I paid cash for it. Can't take it away from me, bro. And the third reason I'm not particularly interested in getting into that sport is I'm not as young and robust as I used to be. And falling off of anything, moving at a high rate of speed, whether it's a horse or a sheep or a motorcycle or side-by-side or a helicopter, I don't just bounce back like I used to. And I'll be honest, that's pretty damn annoying, but it is what it is. So, you know, if I'm going to meet my demise, I would hope it would be like, you know, jacking up bad guys that are hurting kids. That'd be a good way to go out. Or like at 105 years old, when we throw a big party and it was like, well, Bear's too old to wipe his ass anymore. And I'm like, that's it, guys. I love you. It's party time. We're going to throw a big party. And somewhere around midnight, when everybody's deep in conversation, I'm just going to walk out into the woods with a rucksack and you will never see me again. That's how I want to go out. Not smashing into a tree on a motorcycle. Good question, though. Big tree, fall hard. Hacksman, I didn't know you spoke red, man. Bear, AR-15 mil-spec build with 24-inch stainless fluted bull barrel. The barrel is too long. Oh, and it sees in the dark. I don't know. Scott, I don't know what you're doing with it. If you're seeing in the dark, you're probably taking precision shots, so 24 inches is probably fine, although there's something to be said about the velocity gain that you get on a barrel that long, up above 18 inches. My understanding is it falls off pretty significantly as far as, you know, feet per second that you gain on a barrel length that long. And then there's probably also something to be said for harmonics. But I'll be the first one to tell you, I'm not the expert on that. I honestly don't know. But if you're taking precision shots from a tripod or a truck window or from the prone, sounds like it'd be great. If you're carrying that B word through the woods all day, it might be a little heavy. Contentment, risk assessment, and valuing those who are valuable to you. Priceless perspective. Praise Yah. Shalom, Bear. I tell everyone because it's the truth. The class is great. I'll be doing Responder 2 next year. I was at Responder 1 in Fort Washington, Pennsylvania. I got myself a bear fact. Thank you, Michael. I appreciate that. The ground gets harder and objects get harder to see the older you get. For sure. Making a huge FSA purchase in the next couple of weeks. Love that end of the year FSA purchase. Thank you, Just Mark IV. That's awesome. Yeah, our stuff, all of it's FSA and HSA. So if you have a flexible spending account or a health savings account, you can use that at Refuge. It's actually a really good way to use it because, you know, there's only so many teeth you got to get pulled in a year. So where are you guys at with growing your own feed? Not as far down that road as I'd like to be. This drought this year hammered us really bad. The sheep will eat grass. They'll also eat anything that grows in the woods. And so keeping the sheep alive, not that big of a deal. The cows, a little bit more difficult. They'll eat hay and grass. They don't love the woods as much. Chickens will eat whatever. In fact, to be honest, I haven't thrown out feed for my chickens in at least a half a year, maybe longer, because they clean up what the cows knock out of their feed bins, and then they eat bugs and acorns and little berries and seeds and whatever else they can find. So I don't like intentionally feed the chickens at all. They free range, they take care of themselves. But we're not feed independent yet. I'd love to be feed independent, but it's a game of resources. The most important one being time. Right now, the way I scratch that itch is we go to the feed store and we get sacks of feed and we run our animals on pasture and we supplement with grain. Because cost benefit analysis, do I run these businesses and these ministries, or do I grow feed for my animals? I don't have the time to do both. And I have prioritized operating these businesses and these ministries above being 100% self-sufficient when it comes to feed for my animals. In a perfect world, I would love that to be the case. I just haven't made the time. I haven't prioritized the time to spend to make that be so. So the main reason old men get hurt is thinking they are young men. Phil Walter, that's totally true. Another collab with Carl Erickson from Tactical Rifleman anytime soon. That will very likely be coming in 2023. Carl is awesome. Carl's a great guy. He keeps good people around him. Imri's also awesome, also a great guy. And we thoroughly enjoy their company. And we are in talks of setting up some stuff officially in 2023. The biggest challenge with anything like that is he's a trainer who travels and has a very busy schedule. And we're trainers who travel and we have a very busy schedule. And then my busy schedule oftentimes gets interrupted by things like hurricanes, tornadoes, and kids that need to be rescued. And so my schedule is not terribly predictable. And that's a challenge for a guy like me, because I like to be able to look a month out and know what I'm doing so I can plan accordingly. But when you get a phone call that's like, hey, there's a 6-year-old in trouble, how do you not go? Like, if you're in a position to go, you go, right? You get a phone call or you watch the news or Ryan Hall, y'all, and it's like, this town has been smashed by a tornado. How do you not go? You go. That's what we do. We go. I'm surrounded by people who go. And so that makes it challenging to put stuff on the calendar. And it's now come with a new interesting set of caveats when we're scheduling stuff. Like, will Bear be there? Yes. Asterisk. Let us explain the asterisk. If something comes up that's more important than being at this event, Bear's going to go do that thing that's more important. Thank you, Russell Performance. I appreciate you. Thank you. Do you provide any type of CERT training for disaster response? Not currently. Good night, Hacksman. Thanks for hanging out with us. Great channel, by the way. Hacksman, everybody. If you're not subscribed, he knows his stuff, and he's fairly entertaining as well, so you should check him out. What is the equivalent to a Cub Pro? The ARC. The ARC is the advanced rip-away kit. The Cub was a rip-away kit. So I would get the ARC, A-R-K, advanced rip-away kit. Thank you, Zach W. Agent Chaos. See ya. Hubby would like to see more firearms in 7.62 by 25. Isn't that the Tokarev round? Bear, what IR weapons light do you use again? It is the Surefire Vampire. I would show it to you on camera, but you're not allowed to do that on YouTube anymore. You cannot handle firearms on YouTube. And mine is firmly affixed to the rail on my rifle. So, can you do farm consulting? I could. I could. I don't know if I'm your guy, though. There's people that know a lot more about setting up a farm than I do. Go watch Billy at Permapastures. Like, Billy knows his stuff. Like, for real. Or Greg Judy. Watch Greg Judy. Like, he knows his stuff. What's the website for the first aid kits? refugemedical.com. I can't afford one of your IFACs. Should I build one for now or save up for yours? You know, honest answer to that is what you should have right now. I'll show you. I don't have an IFAC on me, but I'm going to show you what I do have. Back pocket, I have a soft T tourniquet, about $30, right? You can get a cat as well, either or. The soft T requires more training to be effective under stress with, but I've had all that training and then some, and it's super flat, which is why I like it. It's in my back pocket. So I have a tourniquet for massive hemorrhage, and then in my hoodie, let me roll my hoodie over here. The Origin hoodie, everybody. Yeah, beautiful. The hoodie has this kangaroo pouch on the front. Let me see if I can do this. There we go. All right, and so right here, I have a set of shears clipped to the inside, right? These are important so you can access injuries on people. And then on this zipper, I have hemostatic agent. This is Celox Rapid. You can get combat gauze. You can get compressed gauze. Compressed gauze is $3 for a package. So if you are, if your budget is a consideration, get compressed gauze. It will absolutely work. 75th Ranger Regiment, which is a test bed for TACMED, TCCC, Tactical Combat Casualty Care, did a definitive study on hemostatic impregnated gauze, like combat gauze or Celox, as compared to regular old cheap compressed gauze. And I think it was 128 casualties. They found zero appreciable difference between compressed gauze and hemostatic impregnated gauze. Okay. So this stuff's like $40 a package. Compressed gauze is $3. So get you a tourniquet. It's $30. Set of shears, $10. That's $40. And compressed gauze, $43. And then I have an S-Mark bandage in here. This is like a stretchy yoga band that can be used to make a tourniquet with or to make a pressure bandage with. Okay. These come from TACMED Solutions. We have these in the store. It's like $6. So you're $50 in, and that handles all of your massive bleeding, which is 90% of traumatic injury. 90%. It's the number one cause of preventable death in the United States of America is massive bleeding. So that gives you wound packing capability and tourniquet capability right there. I would do that first before you save up for a refuge IFAC, because I think it's more important that you have something now, because you never know when you're going to need it. So let's see. Jerns Mars said, thanks for all you do, Bear. Oh, you're welcome, brother. Assuming you're a brother or sister. You're welcome. You. Donnie O'Keefe, I'm the father of 3 and a federal employee of 7 years. I'm looking for work in your neck of the woods, trying to coup hemp from California. Any ideas on where to start? Man, I don't know what you do for work. I would start. So in this area, let's say like Northwestern Arkansas, 3rd fastest growing region in the United States. Walmart and 10,000 of its subcontractors are all headquartered there. So not only do you have those 10,000 giant businesses, you have all the service industries connected to those 10,000 giant businesses. And then Eastern Oklahoma doesn't have a lot for industry. There's not a lot going on in Eastern Oklahoma, but the cost of living is really low. And land is cheaper, considerably cheaper than in Arkansas. So if you can find something on the Eastern Oklahoma side of the border to live in, and a place to work on the Western Arkansas side of the border to work at, you probably got a pretty good thing going there. A lot of people do that in this area. It's man. Just kidding. I'm a man. Okay. Germs Mars, man. 147 grain, 7.62, 51 ball, FMJ with the tip cut off is great in an M240. I believe you. I've been not on the 240, but I've been on that 1M18 LR kick lately. But that stuff's, $3 a squeeze right now. But gosh dang, is it good ammo. What's up, Fo Daddy? I didn't know you were in the chat. An hour and a half. Hot damn. It's 8:30. I got to get up for the gym in 8 hours and 3 minutes. All right. So because I have to get up for the gym in 8 hours and 3 minutes, we're going to call this a live stream. I got to crawl up out of the bunker and go kiss my wife. Y'all are the best. Thank you all for hanging out with me, for doing some Q&A. Thank you for supporting our American-made, not just American, but American-made small businesses and our ministries. We literally couldn't do this without you. So thank you. Crypto Rick, I appreciate you. And I'll end with this. Aaron Evans said choking recommendations. D choker, D-E choker. Google it. I have 3 of them in my truck. I have 3 of them in my kitchen, small, medium, and large. Bless you, Brother Saw, everybody else. I appreciate y'all. D choker, D-E-C-H-O-K-E-R, D choker. We tried to become a distributor for them. They can't keep up with the orders that they got. They don't need us selling their stuff as well, but we believe in that product so much that I just tell people to go buy it. It's excellent. D choker. And that's that. RefugeMedical.com. Multicam Monday is live right now. So that's Marpat, Multicam, and Multicam Black, 20% off everything. And please remember us for Giving Tuesday for Grindstone and Caleb House. Appreciate y'all. Need you. Need you. Can't do this without you. So thank you. Y'all have a blessed night, and I will see you tomorrow morning after the gym for the brief. Shalom, everybody. Oh, and pray for Renee Nix and for Mike. Okay?